What's up, everybody? We're back again. It's the Dad Bod Golf Pod, episode 56. Proudly members of the Believe Podcast Network, the number one podcast network for professionals. You got Kyle, Nate, Ben. It's a Thursday, and we're ready to go. What's up, gentlemen? How's it going?
It could get wild tonight.
It could get nutty.
And the reason I say that is because I did not shut the door to the room that I'm recording in.
Oh, boy.
There's kids, animals, wife. Who knows?
Let's hope for all of that. At least let's hope for all of that.
Thanks, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Pure chaos. I want to see the sheer panic on your face whenever something like that goes wrong.
I want you to get up and let the dog out like Wells Padgett had to do like a few days ago. He was like, hey guys, I'll be right back.
That was the whole reason. As soon as we started recording, I was like, well, I can always just get up and go shut the door. It's not like it hasn't been done before on the show. So I'm not real worried about it.
Absolutely.
I just ate a meal that had like maybe an unhealthy amount of jalapenos included. So like if I look like I'm crying talking about these topics, I'm not. It's just the sweat from these jalapenos.
I'm sure it has nothing to do.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with your hoodie and toboggan, schnuggin, whatever you call it. Combo you got going right now.
You wrapped up like a Christmas elf. That has nothing to do with the heat that you're feeling. I got you.
Miyagi-Do.
Miyagi-Do.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Put him in a body bag.
I love it.
Anyway,
I love it.
sorry.
I love it. So believe it or not, we're going to talk about the Ryder Cup one last time.
That's it.
We're going to take a few more takeaways from it and look at the future. And one way you can also look at futures, and you can even bet on futures if you want to. You can go to Betonline.ag. You can head to their website, or you can use your mobile device. Sign up today and receive 50% off of a welcome bonus of your initial deposit. You give them $100, they're going to give you $50 back on top of that, free to play with. Can you believe that? That's just free money. You have to use your coupon code, promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive this bonus. They have football, basketball, boxing, golf, casino games, tons of fun. Play blackjack all night long. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the rest of the 2021 season. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts.
That is where the game starts. And I love the fact that you give some advice on what you should and shouldn't be gambling on. I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make sure your kids don't get on like Jewel Runner Casino Edition tonight, Kyle, because that 50% could go really quick.
Hey, that's another thing. We would like to advise you to log out of your account when you shut your computer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you never know.
I'm not saying that's got nothing to do with you getting in trouble with your wife for her not knowing that you're doing it. That's got everything to do with me having a 13-year-old and 12-year-old that, just like Nate said, come in and start playing Candy Crush, the gambling
slot
version.
Machine.
Hey, Dad, we lost 10,000 coins on your account last night.
I was like, that's fantastic, baby. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Lost all your welcome bonuses.
Why am I moving into an apartment?
Yeah. We're moving again.
Yeah, for sure. So back to the golf aspect of it. We said we want to talk about the Ryder Cup one last time. And I think the biggest thing is because as we've talked throughout the week,
I think you said that we were talking about it one last time. Nate and I were good. We're talking about it like for the next 2 weeks.
I guess we could.
He's even got his hat on. I mean, we
could, but I mean, you just get so many Ryder Cup.
I agree.
Ryder Cup titles in there, and it's like, oh man, we're just really milking this thing as long as it goes.
It's only every couple of years. It's like Haley's Comet, man.
That's true.
We gotta soak it for what it's worth.
Tomorrow, Friendship Friday will not be about the Ryder Cup.
Not at all.
Correct.
Totally unrelated to the Ryder Cup.
Zero Ryder Cup relation.
The thing I want to talk about tonight, and we've talked about it, is going into this thing, there was this worry, this angst that the Americans were going to continue to do the same things that kept losing them Ryder Cups. Why can't we do what the Europeans could do? Or why don't we do what they do? And there was a lot of disappointment from a lot of people, including us, in the captain's picks, admittedly. And we kind of thought we were heading down that road, and we were just completely wrong. So, we talk about what the Europeans do. And, a lot of times, a lot of people were saying, America finally did that. But I want to talk about what is that? What is that? What do people mean? What is the formula? And I just want to kind of kick it around, talk about it a little bit. Was it just dumb luck, or was it just or what was the strategy? How did it just everybody gel so perfectly and we just absolutely stroked the Europeans this year?
I think belief and buying in is what happened this year that may have, to an extent, that may have never, ever happened in the history of U.S. Ryder Cup teams. And I think you can trace that back to 6 guys who have never played in the Ryder Cup before. So you have half the team is absolutely fresh, has no experience on the Ryder Cup, and all of those guys came in absolutely fired up. You've got Justin Thomas, who is the ringleader. And these guys bought in like no other U.S. team. You can sit in that team room and be like, listen, guys, we have 10 of the top 14 players in the world right now. Like, how can we lose? Well, we are unstoppable.
Right.
And I think
that's the approach you got to take. You can't take the pressure approach where it's like, we can't lose this. Like, we're going to look really bad. You can't have that negative tone. I think it helps that the Olympics were done this year. I think it was, I think Xander got a little taste of what it's like to play an international play. I think that you talked about Justin Thomas. I mean, him being involved with the Tigers of the world, that when he was on that last President's Cup and saw how big Tiger made it, where he wanted all those guys playing in Bermuda with one another before they headed over and played together. And then when they got over there, they made it a big team thing. They bought in early. You heard Stricker mention in his in the post-round interview where he said he just appreciates all the guys coming early and doing practice rounds with one another, including the vice captains who weren't even playing. They still were playing with the guys. And I mean, when you got Phil Mickelson, who's played that course plenty of times, out giving you tips in a practice round saying, hey, this is an idea that you need to do this, or this is what this putt's going to do. I mean, that's invaluable. That's something that, DJ had the tournament won a few years ago. And because of the stupid ruling and people being able to stand in bunkers, it got taken away from. He demolished the course that year. And right. So he had that confidence of, hey, yeah, I got screwed, but I've got this in the bag. Like, I know how to play this course. And right. So I think the combination of confidence / the Olympics were this year. So that whole international vibe of USA coming together, it just all worked out. And man, they may have found something. I love that I heard Paul Azinger say that they ought to consider giving Stricker a second shot at it.
Why not?
I mean, he did. He proved us wrong. We railed on those captain's picks. I mean, he proved us wrong. So.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second, because I have a different take. Okay.
Oh,
I feel like it's just completely
team of Brysons.
Completely dumb luck that it all worked out the way it did. And let me explain. Guys like Matt Kuchar, Brent Snedeker, Bubba Watson, your guys that were typically playing these things are now outside of the qualification range. In other words, they're not playing great golf. And it just so happens that, 6-year picks are automatic. Like, you can't do anything about it. And it just so happened Colin Morikawa and Patrick Cantlay are both rookies. We didn't pick them because they're rookies. They just happened to be rookies. They're auto qualifiers. And then
they also were playing hot golf at the time too.
Doesn't matter. They auto qualified. So it's not like you made a strategic pick in picking them. They were just auto qualifiers. And then you had 7, 8, 9, which 80% of the time the captain is going to take 7, 8, 9, which happened to be Tony Finau and Xander Schauffele, which were both. I'm not sure. I think they possibly play. I think Finau played in the President's Cup. I don't think he's played in the Ryder Cup. No, Schauffele was a rookie as well. Mm-hmm. And then you really only stretched to the number 14 out of 12. You pick 12, and you really only stretched to number 14. So you kick out Patrick Reed, which we said was dumb, but when you really think about it, if you're trying to have a little bit of camaraderie and people liking to play with each other and the general vibe, you don't really want anybody that you can choose not to have, because Bryson would be the only other one that people possibly have a problem with, but he's an auto pick. So you don't pick Patrick Reed, and then you don't pick Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson's another one that's been there forever. And I don't know. I don't exactly know his record, but he's been a part of a lot of losing teams. So was it really this strategic, like, well, let's really look at this from a strategy standpoint, or did we just get really lucky that, or is it just this sign of the times that, we have this young crop of just absolutely stud golfers all playing great golf at the same time? Which one do you think?
I think that's probably one of the biggest things is we got top guys playing at the same time, because no slight to Bubba, I love Bubba,
Yeah,
but a number four ranked Xander Schauffele, to me, is playing better golf than a number 4 ranked Bubba ever was. Just because
sure.
Bubba,
I think that kind of goes to what I'm talking about.
You see what I'm saying? Like we've got a great group of young guys right now that it worked out well, but they're so young, it could work out well the next 2 Ryder Cups.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're talking like 22 and 23 and 24-year-old guys. It's not like, used to they'd consider a young guy on the team being like a 28 or a 30-year-old.
Right.
Because you'd have your Phils who were 40 or your Tigers who were 38 or something.
Which is which I think was the problem. But
yeah.
Nate, yes. What's your take? Do you have anything to add to that? Am I way off here?
I don't think you're way off.
Is it on the other side of the pond of the aisle? Is that it's just the European team has become the Spurs, where like they were just so good for so long, and now they just ran out of gas.
Sure.
They just don't have anything.
They've become what the Americans are. They've become what the Americans
That's
were.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
The Poulter is now Tiger. Sergio is now Phil.
You watch your mouth.
Never say that and Tiger in the same sentence again, except for
I want you to get out and run a lap
Tiger at a restaurant last night. That's the only time
and you run a lap around your house.
I got to drop and give you 20 right now.
Yeah.
But
I get your point though.
But age-wise, they're just. We all said it when they picked them, that was the emotional picking the Sergio and the Poulters of the world. And don't get me wrong, they played okay. Poulter still got his point on Sunday, so he got that guaranteed point that we've talked about. They only got 9 of them the entire time, so he counted for 1/9 of it. So but still, he didn't help a whole lot in team play. And I don't know that they had any younger guys to pick from though. That's the thing.
They don't.
The fact that Stricker was able to, we were bitching about him picking Scheffler and Berger and not taking Kisner and taking Webb Simpson and taking Kevin Na. I love Kevin Na, but he falls into that 40+ category. He's in that 40-year-old plus, and maybe that's what Stricker was looking at. I don't need to bring in another 40-year-old to be in here with his team of youth. Yeah, let's start something young.
But then, go ahead, Nate.
The European team has had the most success when it's Spaniards, Englishmen, and Scotsmen. They had 2 guys that were playing for the first time from their country. Victor Hovland, who is extremely talented, first Norway player, and Wiesberger, first player from Austria. I think it's totally different. Like Austria and Norway have no history of Ryder Cup. These guys have nobody to look up to. They have nobody who, I'm sure it's an honor, and I'm sure that they love being there and we're excited. But I think that's a big thing to me, is that
they got a lot of pressure on them too, Nate. Like their countries,
yes,
we've got a whole gaggle of guys to be able to root for. We were rooting for the Kisners of the world to make it, and he didn't. We were, we're loving the fact that Schauffele was, I don't know. It's a lot. You got Scheffler that came off his gold medal win, so we're pulling for him. Those guys, like Victor Hovland's all Norway's got, so all eyes are on him. They're all staying up late and watching him play. There's a lot of pressure that comes with that. Now he did well, he handled it well, but still. And Wiesberger, the Austrian, that the whole country, they're staying up and watching him play too. And I'm sure he's getting texts and people are, I don't have any mutual friends on social, but his social media probably was blowing up of people back home like, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. I wouldn't trade positions with him. That's a lot to put on.
I just wonder how cohesive that team is when you start. It's so diverse. It was so diverse this year.
Yeah.
But Anyway, Kyle, I'm sorry. I know you've been waiting for a while.
We mentioned that though. They're not riding together. They're not busing together anymore. All those guys are living in the States and they're playing on the PGA tour. They're not playing on the European tour with one another.
That is a great point.
So they don't have, even though, and Poulter tried to defend that. And he even in his post-round presser, when they asked him, he was like, no, we're just all closer. And I'm sitting there going, no, you're not. You're not what you were 15 years ago. 15 years ago, y'all were all bunking together.
Now you're all living in Florida.
Yeah. You're collecting Ferraris, and Rory's gotten married and having kids, and like that. Y'all are.
And you hang out with Patrick Cantley and Justin Thomas every day.
Exactly. You hang out with him. You have done to the Americans what you said the Americans never had. You've buddied up with them. You've brought them closer together, and now the tide has turned on you, and you did it to yourself. For years, the Europeans kept on saying these guys don't have a team cohesiveness. They don't know each other. They don't live together.
And you took away what? You took that away. Like you took your strength away.
You took your strength away, and then you taught them the spring break boys going down and hanging out with one another. Like they have that cohesiveness now. They have that gel. They have that party atmosphere, and the Euros laid the great groundwork for the Americans, and the young Americans have run with it.
Yep. I still say we're very lucky right now. It is an era that is about to be unbelievable for U.S. golf. You have so many guys in the top 15 in the world that are in their early, mid-20s, early 30s that can play for another possibly 5 Ryder Cups. And none of them are going to get, or none of them are just going to be bad. I mean, Spieth's probably the only guy that has been up and has fallen, but he's coming back up, and he's not going to be one that's just going to continue to be the weak link. I don't believe moving forward. He's getting better and better. Sometimes I think we kind of have played this whole Stricker made these awesome strategic moves, this, that, and the other, and really played that up when in reality, it's just the timing was right. The timing is perfect. It's like Cantlay said, there's really only a 1 or 2% difference in this stuff. Like it's kind of like playing gin, but over 100 times that you play, a 1 or 2% difference can create a huge variance in difference. And I think we're possibly getting to that. We might be seeing that moving forward.
I think it's helpful, and this is getting into a whole realm of things psychologically. Stricker, I will say, I think he handled it differently as a captain. Zinger, when he was a captain, he's more of an authoritarian captain, and he's like, this is my way, this is the way we're going to do it. Stricker knows that these young guys have kind of grown up in that every kid gets a trophy society, and that blue ribbon society they like to call. And he nurtures these guys. Like he said it in his post-game and the post-round presser when they were asking him, he was like, I got out of their way. Like they know they're good. Like I just brought them together, and I didn't tell them what they needed to be doing. They know what they're supposed to be doing. I'm just here to be a figurehead. And now some of that probably was just him being humble, because I mean, he is a crier. I didn't realize Stricker was as much a crier as he is.
Big crier, huge crier.
He cried a lot. I did not know that. That was something new. And the fact that the team made fun of him for it the entire time, apparently he cried a lot in the team rooms, I guess. So I thought it was pretty cool, though, that he played the nurturer, like, hey, you're doing fine. Get out there, go get us a point. And instead of going, you can't do this, you can't do that, the authoritarian like the previous captains have been.
For sure. You can tell you what won't make you ever cry is if you're wearing anything from Swannies.co. Head to toe.
Tears of joy.
Tears of joy. That's the only tears you'll cry is head to toe, anything from Swannies.co. How about that? Head to toe, anything from Swannies.co. That could be a new catchphrase. I'm not sure. Dad by Golf Pod -25. Take 25% off your next order. You can get a hoodie like Nate's, not that particular one, but they got golf hoodies. Golf hoodies are making a charge into the public eye, and we are so fired up to see this style take off.
Why do hoodies have to be this stupid inside joke?
I know. Where did it come from? Or come on, whatever.
Come on, Nate. Go and get you another one, buddy.
Absolutely.
on.
Absolutely. So
Ooh.
Swannies.co, coupon code DadBodGolfPod -25, take 25% off your next order. All right, Nate, moving forward, man. Moving forward.
Kyle's had enough of us already. All it took was the one jab,
Yes.
and he's like, nope, that's enough. Moving on.
What is the biggest concern for Team USA moving forward over let's just say the next 10 years? Are you more worried about the President's Cup, or are you more worried about the Ryder Cup, and why?
I don't mean to be a Kyle Rush contrarian, pull a very original opinion out of nowhere, but I think it's neither, and because I think we've always dominated the President's Cup because there is no sense of allegiance for the international team. Like, you have a guy from Australia, Japan, and South Africa on the same team.
Language barrier.
The only thing that pulls them together is that, like,
beating the
there's
USA.
nothing. There's nothing.
It's just the common ground of beating the USA. That's
We're
the
like,
only thing that pulls them together.
It's like the President's Cup is like, hey, we want something to do in off years of the Ryder Cup, so let's just play everybody else.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying there's not talent out there in the international pool. I mean, we Abraham Answer, just going down the world rankings here. Abraham Answer, Louis Oosthuizen. I mean, you have the Adam Scotts of the world have gotten older. Matsuyama, obviously, is still a hugely talented guy, but
both of the Koreans. They're going to try to.
Who do you put an Australian? Do you put Cam Smith and Matsuyama on a team? Like, what kind of Matsuyama uses an interpreter in interviews.
Yeah.
So I just, you look down the world rankings and you're like, where is the next wave of people guys that compete America coming from?
Ben, what do you think?
I'll take the polar opposite approach to him on that. Is I think that's the only chance they have is the President's Cup. And if you can just center that core around, hey, we're here to beat the Americans, maybe that may help them out a little bit. And it may add a little fire that it just was 19-9 with the Ryder Cup. And they may be who captains the President's Cup may be able to say, don't get embarrassed like this. This is not something that you want on your resume. So, now, with the Ryder Cup, they weren't able to pick the top players from around the world. They were only able to pick an X amount of players from a certain area of the world. We have an opportunity to grab all the best players from the world and come to a common ground of beating the USA. And if they buy in, fine. But then again, you got to wonder if some of them are just like, man, I'm just here to play golf. Like I'm not, I don't, I'm going to try to beat the guy that you put me up against, or me and my partner are going to try to beat the two guys you put us up against. Other than that, as soon as this thing's over, I'm going back to my country and hanging out with my wife and kids. I don't know what else to tell you. So if they can avoid that mentality, if they can avoid the individual, that we just talked about, being from separate areas of the world, and they can come together for common ground, that's where you're most dangerous. With the Ryder Cup right now, I don't see any up and coming Europeans that are going to take the reins from some of the ones that are currently playing, and they just got waxed.
Absolutely.
So I don't know that that's going to change, at least in the next two Ryder Cups. Sure. I don't know that it's going to be 19-9, the next two Ryder Cups. I will say that. I think it'll be a lot closer. But I don't, with this crop that the Americans have right now in this youth, they are swinging a heavy stick, man. And I think it's going to, you got DJ's the oldest guy at 38, and you look at what kind of shape he's in. He's still in great shape. He's not going anywhere unless there's a major injury.
He doesn't age.
No. And so it's, the rest of them are all like sub 30. So
exactly.
You got the next two Ryder Cups are set for you.
For sure. Where I see the biggest threat, like we talked about, youth to me is big right now, and Europe has a old America problem where it's like we kept playing the same, we're keeping on playing the same guys, and they're sort of getting to where they don't have that fire anymore. They're a little bit older, they're a little bit more set in their ways, this, that, and the other. You talk about if you're looking at the rest of the world, you got Abraham Answer, you got Hideki Matsuyama. You got the two Koreans who are ready to go out blazing before they have to go into military service. You're going to catch them. You got Sung J M and Siwoo Kim. You got those two guys coming in. You got Cameron Smith,
who are playing good golf right now too.
Exactly. They're playing they're trying to get this last hurrahs in before they have to go do their mandatory service. You got guys like Joaquin Neiman. You got guys like he may actually be from Europe. No, he's from it doesn't matter.
Neiman.
Yeah,
I think Neiman may be in from a European country. I'm not sure.
whatever. Anyways, Corey Connors,
The fact that we don't know
Cameron
is a problem.
Smith, Martin
That's the
Leishman.
issue.
You got dudes like Garrick Higo from South Africa who just won this year, who's young, who can bomb it. I mean, they have young, talented golfers. And the European side, I still feel like the next Ryder Cup is still going to be Paul Casey. It's still going to be, Tyrrell Hatton. It's still going to be guys like
the
Fleetwood,
Tommy Fleetwoods of
Tommy
the world.
Fleetwood. It's it's still going to be those type of guys, and I just don't know that they can. They still have that fire to be able to do it. So I see the threats right now.
Kyle, I don't even know if it's the fire. I think it's the ability, man.
Ability.
If you're 36 facing a 26-year-old who ain't going to get tired and can play every single round, can play
5 rounds,
36 a day. I mean, that's just that says something right there.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to I'm actually really looking forward to the President's Cup that's coming up in 2022. It's in Charlotte at Quail Hollow. That's going to be awesome.
Yes.
That's in driving distance, fellas, and you can better believe the Dad Bod Golf Pod will be there for sure.
No doubt.
100%.
Not to belabor the point, the DJ thing, but our oldest guy, the American's oldest guy, went 5 and he went all 5 rounds.
Yeah.
He went 5-0.
Absolutely.
And their oldest guy is taking breaks. And matter of fact, their oldest 3 guys are taking breaks and they're sitting out sessions. And he wasn't tired at the end. I mean, we've talked about it earlier in the week. Absolutely, he said when they asked about him being able to party with the young guys. I mean, he's the Nate said it best. He's the ageless wonder. He just played 5 rounds and didn't look tired at the end of Sunday. Now, some of that probably was a little adrenaline after winning the Ryder Cup, but still, he looked fine on the final round.
For sure. Absolutely. So
and they don't have that. They
don't have that. They don't. They just don't have it right now.
I feel like the international team for the President's Cup is like playing an ABCD scramble. Like you play with 3 guys you've never met before, and you're like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, because unlike the European team, Nate, you make a good point. Because unlike the European team, we just talked about how the Euros have moved to Florida and Arizona, and they're living there. The guys who play in the world, they're still living in their home countries. Like guys are still living in Australia, guys are still living in Korea, the guys are still living in South Africa. They're not living in
houses
the States
here, but that's maybe their home. They still be.
Yeah, and they're still going back home and visiting mom and dad and staying with the family and that kind of thing. So that's the disadvantage they have. As I said, I think the only advantage they have in the President's Cup is coming together to common ground of beating America. That's the only common ground that they really have.
And they're all fairly young and pretty dang good at golf. So that is, to me, that's underrated as far as
Hideki could go 5-0. He easily could go 5-0
now
in a 5 round session.
I will say, watching the Americans, if I'm on the international team and I watch the Americans stroke the Europeans 19-9, be like, you know what? That's who we're taking down. We're going to beat that. We're going to beat that. We're going to show the world that the Ryder Cup is over. Their time is over, and now it's time for the international team. I don't know if that means anything to them, but
Joaquin Neiman is from Chile.
Just that is 100% a
team
President's Cup eligibility.
Yes, absolutely, and he's pretty feisty. That I love watching him hit that driver stinger, that low bullet.
Yes.
I can watch that over and over again. I wish I could do that, but my ball goes 1,000 feet in the air every time.
Do we see the new Slovakian in the President's Cup?
Maybe
Slovakia is in Europe, I think, isn't it? Or is that considered Asia?
I don't know.
I
feel like they would have left
Europe.
the Union in like 1953.
Or does he play as a South African this time? So
I
you
think
the President's
committed.
Cup.
You can't. There's no take backs. There's no take back.
He
Whatever
has
you do in the
he has
Olympics,
dual-
you have to do in the rest of your life.
He has like triple citizenship. He's like an American, South African, and a Slovakian. Maybe he plays.
Slovakia is definitely in Europe, by the way. Yeah, so he could have made the Ryder Cup team.
Is that the same as Yugoslavia?
Let's don't get into that.
No, we're not doing that.
There's so
I
many
asked the wrong guy that question.
And you know what?
Yeah, I don't even know our abbreviations on my states.
Now that I said, I appreciate you sending that to us earlier too, or tagging us in that. By the way, that was absolutely hilarious. That was Kyle going over that. So, and I think maybe it's Slovenian. I completely forgot. We may have even gotten that wrong.
No, he's
With-
it was like what they're called.
No, he may be Slovenian. I mean,
No, he's from Slovakia.
He is Slovakia. Okay.
Yeah, 100% Slovakia. All right. Well, we just kind of really went off the rails right there for a second.
Yeah.
So let me reel it back in. Let's reel it back in. How long? What could the streak be? Like, what is a realistic streak that you see here in the Ryder Cup moving forward?
The next three.
At least the next three. You think they win home, away? I mean, away. You're counting this one, so you're saying this one plus two more, or you're saying
this one plus three. This one plus three more. So 4 in a row. I say 4 in a row. I think that's your over under on Betonline.ag. They ought to go ahead and take our word for it.
2027.
That's 8 years. That would be 8 years. Is that right? Or you said 3 years? No, that's 6 years. So that means
There you go.
That puts Morikawa at like 30, who would be the youngest one. So DJ will probably be out. If I had to guess, he's not play at 50 years. He's probably a captain by then. So I could see that.
He's just going to be 44.
Yeah, he'll still only be 44.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's only 6 years. He's only going 44.
Now, Koepka will not be on that team. His body will be broken.
Yeah, because he's
by the time
glass.
2027.
And I will blame you and you.
Why?
It's on effing both of y'all.
That's on both of y'all. No, I think for sure the next two. Because I think they're going to be hot going into Europe. They're going to win, and you're going to come back home and you're going to win again at home. What happens? How does the team shake out when you go back over there? That's something I'm not 100% sure on. But I think this team can play again, like 100% could play again in Europe. Mm-hmm. And then when you come back, you're, like I said, at home, it's just going to be tough to beat these guys at home. Now, this group of guys.
And how many Andrew Wolfs or Victor Hovlands Matthew Wolfs or Victor Hovlands that are like seniors right now, and in a couple of years they're able to be. That's another young group that may be coming through that we haven't even heard of yet.
Now, on the flip side, what European phenoms? What Victor Hovlands? This is Victor's first Ryder Cup. I mean, there's some more Victor Hovlands coming down the pipeline. So 2027, they may, who knows? A guy who won in the 2027 Ryder Cup is in college right now. That's just
if they show up. I mean, my thing is, like, I'm looking at their team, their team on the Ryder Cup site, the European team rankings, and it's like none of these guys I feel like are like Guido Migliozzi. We know him. He's really young. He's fiery. Thomas Dietrich, he's played fairly well this year from Germany. Then you have a language barrier. You got to think about that too. Like, do these guys speak? Is there other guys that can speak Italian or German, or are these guys pretty fluent in English? So that is definitely, you can't just willy nilly pick the top 12 people out of Europe. Something you got to put a little bit of thought behind it. But who are these guys that are the young crop? I mean, I just don't really see it right now. And it would have, like Nate said, they would just literally have to come out of nowhere. It would have to be guys that got hot coming out of college. Those would be the guys that would carry it for Europe, because right now I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing anybody, any young gun right now that can hold Colin Morikawa's jockstrap.
No,
period. No. Can't even tee off out of the same tee box. Like, I'm just not seeing it right now. And but like I said, at least the next two for sure. And then we'll have to see how things shake out when we go back over to Europe.
I mean, in 2 years from now, if you say give me 4 Americans versus 4 of the best Europeans, I mean, right now the Morikawas, the Brysons, the Cantlays of the world, nobody can go against them right now.
No,
I mean, so that if you've got, as Strickard said, if you've got a steady base of 4 to 6 guys that you can almost guarantee a win every time they step on the course, you're almost unbeatable, just because it's demoralizing to the other team, because they get into that whole matchup thing where they're like, well, we don't want to put our best guy against Colin because he's going to wax our best guy. So we got to concede that point and hopefully pick on a weaker American with our best guy. Like Scheffler, and get housed.
Sucks.
Exactly. Hey, so I mean, if we're missing something here, especially talking about the Europeans, let us know. Like, we're not like super duper in depth on this. So there may be some guys. Hey, Bubson, that checks us out on here we go. We got one.
Here we go. Here we go.
One of our listeners, he chats with us a lot on YouTube. Bubson, if we're missing some guys, let us know. I mean, I feel like we're pretty fair and balanced. And we talked a little bit beforehand, and we were all sweating it a little bit. We're all sweating the European team a little bit. But I mean, after 19 and 9, like, where do you go?
You're sitting in a good spot, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if
19 and 9 and young, very young in town.
Yeah, this isn't a 19-9 with an Olafable and the older generation of Europeans that wax the Americans or wax the young Americans early on. Whenever they put up 18 and a half on the Americans, this is 19-9 with a bunch of 20 to 30-year-old players that
exactly
are going to be just fine 2, 4, 6 years from now.
So this is the last thing we'll talk about. We'll wrap it up real quick. So they talked about, Stricker's not going to be the captain again. I don't know why they don't let guys do it multiple times, but I'm hearing.
I kind of wonder if Zinger wanted that for, like he threw that in there because he may have asked to be a captain again, and they told him no, it can't happen.
Possibly.
So that's
what I'm hearing early. Is I'm just going to get y'all's take on this. Is they're going to save Phil for Bethpage?
Yes, there's no doubt. You got to.
And
that's not a bad idea.
Zach Johnson could be your captain for the next one. How do you feel about that? What does Zach Johnson do for you?
He's been a vice captain the last 2 times.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, stole your thunder. Apologize.
No. It wasn't like that.
You look good in that hat, though.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Does that? I mean.
He's not that good looking. But
no, he's not. He's losing more and more hair every day.
I think it
doesn't really get me fired up, but neither does Steve Stricker either.
Stricker did not get me fired up. No. Like Paul Azinger didn't really get me fired up when he was the captain.
I didn't like that pick, but I'm not a big Paul Azinger fan anyway.
But
so that's had something to do with it.
I wondered about that because he has been on a lot of. He's been around. He was in the team room this weekend. He's probably
the players love him.
Yeah, he's respected.
What about
Freddie? He seems a little bit young. ZJ seems a little bit young to be a Ryder Cup captain.
Freddie has thrown out there that he doesn't want to be a captain.
I don't think that's true. Because he was a President's Cup. He was a President's Cup.
But that was his reasoning behind it. He said, now that I've done that and I've headed up international play against somebody, he said, I enjoy my role that I have currently. And I don't know if he was doing that to keep from taking the limelight away from the current captain. Maybe that's why he made that statement. I don't know. But
I've read a few things that they say that they're a little bit turned off by how laid back he is, and he may not be as intense,
much of a leader,
super leader. But at the same time, I think that laid back can help a lot too. I think that laid backness can help. They said they were a little bit turned off. I think he sent someone a message by text when he was a President's Club that, hey, you didn't get picked as a captain's pick, and it may have been. It may have been Jim Furyk, and I think Jim Furyk is on the actual board to select captains. So I think that may be a little bit of an obstacle, but I would love to see Freddie get one. I like Freddie.
That's a phenomenal story. I think that's
awesome. True. I think I read that because I think I was Googling, has Fred Couples been a president or a Ryder Cup captain? Or
they can't use the too laid back thing because I'm telling you, Stricker was he can't get people pumped up. He played the nurturer role. He did not play the rah guy.
You cry the right way, it'll get people pumped up.
Yeah, Freddie's not going to cry though.
I would like to see Freddie get one. I would like to see Freddie get one, but I think it's going to be Zach Johnson, which is very, very Steve Stricker like for Europe. We'll just have to see how that goes. But right now, this train, it's going to be hard to derail it.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer at Bethpage.
No,
who do y'all think
the way New York loves Phil Mickelson?
Yeah,
which is phenomenal to me that they love him since he's a California guy. Played for the Sun Devils, played out of Arizona State, so he's always been a West Coast guy. But they friggin' love him in New York.
Yeah. What about on the European side? What next year? Stenson, Keimer, Westwood.
Sergio's got to be making that. Sergio Poulter's fishing for it. He said he's flat out throwing it out there. Hey, I'm interested in doing it. even though he hasn't been a vice captain. So I don't know why he would throw that out there, because
Yeah.
that's usually kind of the steps you take. They don't usually grab somebody that's never been involved.
I think Sergio next year is probably still going to be good enough to play. You got to be a few years removed from competitiveness.
I agree. He'll probably still play next year.
Yeah, Westwood, Stinson.
He's playing this
Keimer.
weekend.
Yeah, Sergio's playing this weekend.
Yeah, you can go on Betonline.ag right now and figure out. You can bet on if he'll make the cut or not. I'm wondering how that might be a tasty little. That's a 275 bet right there. Does Sergio make the cut?
275?
Does Sergio make the cut for plus 275? Is no, he won't make the cut.
Smack the miss button.
Just saying, just might want to throw that out there.
He's a good ball striker.
Absolutely. Big letdown, a lot of travel. Just think about it. That's all I'm saying. Just think about it. Anyways, guys, this was fun. I'm not even going to attempt to figure out which number this was. I think it was 56.
It's 56. You did a great job.
Very
well done.
So proud of you.
I'm pretty fired up about what we got going with the Believe Podcast Network. This has been an awesome ride so far, and we're going to just take this thing as far as we'll just ride it till as far as it'll take us. So thank y'all. You guys work just as hard as anybody. We all work just as hard as anybody on this. And we dedicate a lot of time to coming up with fresh content for you guys. The only daily golf podcast out there. There's nobody out there worth listening to that goes Monday through Friday like us. And we're not just strictly talking about on the course stuff. We're going to talk about all the fun stuff, all the side stories and the funny stuff and this, that, and the other. So I appreciate
stuff that y'all deal with on a daily basis that's not even tour related.
Bingo. And tomorrow's episode is going to be a prime example of that. So tune in tomorrow for Friendship Friday. We got a fun guest, a fun friend that's going to join us, and I think y'all are going to like it. Check us out on all social media, Dad Bod Golf Pod, everywhere you have social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Rate, subscribe, review on the Apple Podcast app. That helps us in search rankings. And other than that, guys, we will just catch y'all tomorrow for Friendship Friday.
Love it.
Dad Bod Golf Pod.
Always stroking.